Welcome to my cockpit area. Different view, different perspective. Remember when on Dead Poet Society where he had them all stand on the table so they could get a different perspective? Well, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I get a pretty different view of my minivan. I'm Minivan Lee, and I live in my minivan, and this is my cockpit area. This is the cockpit chair, the cock chair. Right. Oh, it's frightfully cold. Yeah, I'm still watching The Crown. And I'm at the part with Diana. Prince William has been born. And they're doing a lot of arguing. Oh my gosh. Diana and Prince Charles, yeah. It's really good, but I'll tell you, they had that English accent going. And I find myself thinking in terms with a English accent. Well, today I did mention that I would talk about romantic relationships on the road. I'm not an expert, obviously, but I have seen different romances that do either happen on the road or one of them wants it to happen and the other one doesn't. And of course, mine was there for 3 years, but yeah. I also want to mention that I've heard that Abby passed away 2 days ago. So, salute to Abby. She was a wonderful dog. And I'm sure that Paul is very, very sad about it. So my condolences about Abby, for sure. My goodness. She was a good travel companion for him, excellent companion. She didn't complain. She didn't complain like somebody else he knows. But yeah, I think what happens is in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, when it stops working, well, there's stages of a relationship anyways, where, the romantic, the honeymoon. Ooh, somebody parked very close. My goodness. Get it together. Oh my goodness. Wow. There. Oh, better. Whew. Okay. It was worrying me. Sorry about that. I think there are different stages in a relationship, even a nomad relationship, but I will discuss some of the issues that I found being in a romantic relationship as a van dweller, in van life. You're very close. In fact, you get to the point where you tie the knot, you make a vow with each other. Well, and then things indubitably, kind of fall apart. I think when people go through a different stage, and the honeymoon, although the honeymoon I think was kind of going on, but there's other people involved. You're so involved in the nomad world, and then somebody else kind of got involved a little bit with it, and kind of threw some darts here and there. And then you have an ex who's still throwing her her opinions in, stalking. And I think when one is unhappy or two are unhappy, there starts to be some complaining, yes, and some whining. Want a little, my goodness, want a little cheese with that wine, So even those are problems that happen in any relationship, whether you're in sticks or bricks or you're a nomad. So I'm going to label out the things that go wrong or can effectively cause things to go wrong in a van dweller's romantic relationship. Okay, so both of you are nomads. Well, you're still living in separate quarters. And you still have your separate vans. Now, if you're out boondocking a lot and you have that common area and you're outside your van a lot, I I don't see what the issue might be. As long as you have a nice, comfortable bed to meet at in the evening hours. But if you're going to be in the city and you're going to be city dwelling, it's not that easy because you're not putting your chair out. You're not hanging outside very much. And I think that was one of the issues that I personally had, was that we weren't really that close. You know, I mean, we were, but we weren't. The times that in living in a city situation, the times that we had together were just like a restaurant, or we would go to the senior center. Where else? It just seemed to be restaurants where we could sit and talk. But so there can be an issue. Definitely. Now, if you're going to get rid of one of your vehicles and move in together, I'm not sure that that's a good way to work it. You didn't have time to get to know each other before you're pushed into this small area. Yeah. There are very many married couples who become nomads, but they've already been married for a few years. They know what buttons not to push. They know what to expect out of their companion, their husband and wife. So I think one of the key issues is the space. Having separate spaces. I mean, if you're in the romantic honeymoon stage of a relationship, who cares? Who cares? But once that kind of subsides, then the cracks start showing. Another thing too, like I mentioned yesterday's, if you didn't see yesterday's video, go watch it. It's good information about travel partners. Even if you're in sticks and bricks, you might go traveling with somebody, a friend, but there are questions you need to ask. So though all of those questions from yesterday are going to apply to a romantic relationship, you could ask all those questions because you want to know, are you compatible? Well, are you compatible financially? Are you compatible in travel style? Are you compatible in healthy habits? If there isn't a compatibility on that, I do have a letter here I'd like to read. If I could open my computer. Okay. I went on a trip with someone I didn't know that well and grew to find them disgusting. Talk about miserable lessons learned. I know. Okay, yeah. And then here's another one. I traveled to Jamaica with a friend, and this is, by the way, from Brenda Meyer. And the last one was from, I want to give your names out here. Linda Fuller. Okay. Thank you for your responses to yesterday's letter or video. I traveled to Jamaica with a friend for a week. Wow, it was like torture. I'm serious. Traveling with somebody that you didn't ask those questions or you didn't consider certain things can turn out to be a miserable situation. And you said, I had to get away from her. She was a smoker. And I love the water and nature, so I kept my distance and never traveled with her again. Lesson learned. Well, what if you fall in love with somebody and you're going to deal with smoking when it makes you ill? If you're a non-smoker, it makes you ill. It just does. It makes you dizzy. When I even walk past somebody, and I used to be a smoker way back, but even walking past somebody's a cigarette, it really does it to me. There's so many chemicals now in cigarettes that if I even walk, I have to walk all the way around because one inhale of it, even a little bit of it, it makes my head go, whoo. It's almost shocking. So, because I'm very sensitive to chemicals here and there. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So if you're with somebody who smokes, and that was kind of my issue, yeah. So even though then it became to the e-cigarettes, there was nicotine and it made me ill. So there was that issue of different lifestyles and habits. Personal habits can really put a dent in things. Also, I mean, let's face it, I don't think this is any secret. There was issues with different levels of cleanliness. And I keep everything really clean, but and there's no judgments on it. Everybody has the right to be who they want to be, but it can hamper a relationship, a romantic relationship. Here's my opinion. I don't think that it should happen as nomads. I really don't. Here's another thing. I know a couple who they were traveling together just as friends, okay? And one of them wanted romance and the other one did not. Well, eventually they split off. And the person who wanted it ended up staying in his rig all by himself continually. I think he was so depressed. And, you know, I can attest to that. It's really hard if you are in love with somebody and it's really, really hard. They say that it's almost like getting off a drug. It is. Because when you're in love with somebody, in the back of your brain is this little brain, and it creates dopamine when you're in love. And you're just thinking about that person all the time, and you're in love, and oh, yeah, it feels so good. But so what happens is when you break up and you are really hurt, it doesn't so much get so much better. You're constantly thinking about that person, which is still kind of creating a dopamine back there, but it's having an almost a reverse effect. And yeah, so eventually I do know that they're now, or they are, last I heard, they are traveling together again. He got his way. I don't think that they're romantic anymore. They're still not romantic, but I do believe that he got his dopamine back. And so he's just happy he doesn't probably want to make maids. He's just happy to be traveling again with this other person. So I know it's happening out there. I know it is. And I was 25 years alone, to tell you the truth, for years. And, well, 25 of them. And I didn't even date. And so it's totally drama-free. I didn't have dopamine back and forth going on, you know. So it was quite different for me. This was quite a different experience for me. But all is well. All is well. And just moving on down the road. But I wanted to give my opinion because I promised you yesterday that I would talk about that. Yeah, I just say don't do it. If you're going to have a travel partner, even if you do have feelings for that person, wow, here's my suggestion. Wait and find out if it's mutual, and wait before any declaration. Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy. Do not declare. I just say don't declare. I mean, some of you are really going to disagree, but if it was ever in my future again, I would never declare. I would just enjoy being with them. No declarations whatsoever. You know, like, oh, I love you, or I really like you, you know. No, just keep it on a friendly basis, at least for a couple years. Really find out what those habits are, what those patterns, and as you get to know them, you're going to start learning their patterns of how they lived their life previously. That's the clue. I think it's all about patterns in your life, your patterns, and how you deal with, I talk about childhood drama. Everybody has childhood drama. Oh my gosh. Some worse than others, some terrible, and some but there's nobody that is free from it. Even if you have the most, let's look at Paris Hilton. People think, oh, Paris Hilton, she grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. She had a lot of problems. Do you know that her parents, when she was a teenager, had her kidnapped and taken to one of those wayward teen camps? she didn't even know. There was no explanation. She was kidnapped. How traumatic that would be. So even the ones with silver spoons have issues, childhood traumas. And she said that it really did traumatize her. Yeah. I heard about all of that. She was made to shower in front of these men naked. They were just watching her. She was hit. She was slapped, knocked around. Oh, yeah. I mean, nobody... I don't care how rich you are or how you think that everything is just hunky-dory. There are wonderful parents out there, granted. But even if you didn't get it at home, you're going to get it at school. And even with The Crown, I'm watching The Crown. Oh, my gosh. Every one of those royals, the royal children, Charles and Anne and Andrew and Edward, they all, when they went to school, they were bullied, made fun of because they were, so it doesn't matter. There's childhood trauma, but some get over it easier than others. Some just like, who cares? Some people like, I can't go on. Your whole life is messed up by it. So, but if you get to know that person, in fact, experts say that you need to know what the childhood was of the person. You need to find that out because it's going to tell you a lot. Are you going to be able to handle that? Because it's going to come out. And they say that we do become attracted to people who we feel will heal our childhood trauma. I've mentioned this in a video previously. Who can heal? So we go for that. And, we think it's the endorphins and the pheromones, I'm attracted. It might just be our subconscious is attracting us to certain people. If we feel they're not worthy, we'll be attracted to somebody that we know won't make us feel worthy, so that we can decide, well, yeah, see, I always knew that, because look at this. We always want to prove our beliefs by who we surround ourselves with. So on the road, here's my greatest, most heartfelt suggestion is if you are attracted to somebody, don't declare it. Don't do it. Hold it in here and enjoy that person and get to know that person. Never declare that I think I kind of like you, because then it just, they'll either reject you if they don't want it, like that one couple I was telling you about, or they'll declare it too before you got a chance to get to know that person. You must get to know everything about that person. And, with me, it was like finding out like past people that are still following his life, his ex. And, there are things that just keep putting potholes in front of your way. And, it's bumpity, 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 bump. You've got different love languages. You've got love languages. You need to find out what's your love interest, love language. You just need to find out all kinds of things. So if you can do that, I say, okay, but do not declare anything. Just enjoy the ride. Draw it out. Don't jump in, but draw it out. Does that make sense? I hope so. I think it probably can happen. And if it does work to where it's like, I can deal with this or I can deal with that. But then here again is you think you can deal with it because you're in love. And then once the honeymoon stage is over, then it's like, no, I can't. So if you're a nomad and you're going to go, I think this would be indicative if you are still a nomad and you find that some of these things you cannot deal with, you thought you could. It's only going to be exacerbated by the fact that you have separate lives. You're here and they're there. Yeah. So, yeah. There you go. I hope maybe this was helpful. I don't know. And I don't even know how many of you are that overly interested in it. I would like to give you more on details, but it's not proper. It's not because I'm involving somebody else's business. So yeah, we both were at fault, and it didn't work, and we're both moving on. So it would have been nice. It would have been nice, but it didn't. And I don't want anybody to fall into that pit, because it is a pit. You know, it's to fall into that. Yes. And you could be hanging on for dear life onto the rock above the pit. And it's a deep, messy, mucky pit down there that you're going to have to climb out of on your own. We really are in this world alone, if you think about it. You'll have to climb out of it alone. And so you don't want to have to go through that. So please, I think, yeah, follow my advice. Know before you jump, okay? Just know before you jump. Okay, everybody, those are my letters. Thank you for those letters. I've got a lot more letters tomorrow, and I've got a new subject for you, okay? Got neck gaiters. I've got gifts on my minivanlee.com. I've got exercise tapes. I've got sunglasses. Yeah. So go there for products. It's an easy website to maneuver through. And please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. I love talking to you every day. And I love giving new information. And hope I'm entertaining. So, yeah. Tomorrow, new things. Mwah. Love you. Bye.